Hey everyone, if you're a subscriber to my channel, you're used to seeing the videos that I post be of that thing right there that you can see the tire of, which is my Shelby Cobra replica that I'm building. And that's been most of the videos that I've been working on until now. But if you subscribe to my channel, you also know that I like motorcycles, and this is my 2009 Harley-Davidson Ultra Classic that I've owned for about 9 years now. I love this motorcycle. It's a great bike. It's fantastic for trips. It's really great for around town as well. And for my wife and me, this is kind of a forever motorcycle. My wife and I bought this motorcycle in 2011, right after we got married. It only had a few thousand miles on it, so I put most of the miles on it. And we really enjoy getting to ride our bike. She has a Street Glide, and I have this Ultra Classic. But the one thing that I've always wanted to change about this motorcycle is increase the horsepower. So after I bought it, I did a couple of bolt-ons. I upgraded the air filter, I did some upgrades to the exhaust, and then I did kind of a bolt-in canned tune for it. And all of those things made a difference that was noticeable, both in terms of sound and performance, but the bike still doesn't get as much power as what I'd like it to. Now, this is an 850-pound motorcycle. You don't buy it because you want to go fast, but right now it's actually slower 0 to 60 than my wife's Jaguar XKR, which is kind of pathetic, I think. So we're going to see if we can't do something about that. So that's why I've got this banner up here from Dynojet. This is actually the first series of videos I'm going to be posting that is sponsored. Dynojet approached me knowing that I wanted to do some upgrades to my Harley, and said that they wanted to help out. And I'm really excited about this for a lot of reasons. Obviously, first off, this is the first time that I'm getting a sponsored video series, and that's very exciting to me. I'm really thankful that Dynojet wants to partner with me on that. I'm also excited about it because even though I can figure out how to build stuff pretty much from scratch, I really don't have a whole ton of experience wrenching on motorcycles. My motorcycles I've owned, I've basically just ridden and done bolt-on modifications to, kind of like what I did to this one. In fact, actually the air filter and exhaust modifications that I did were done at the dealership, believe it or not, because they had a special going and it made sense to do, even though I certainly was capable. So this is going to be fun because I'm going to get to learn some more about this motorcycle I've owned for 9 years, get to do some wrenching on motorcycles that I haven't done a whole lot of before, and I think at the end of the day we should be getting, we'll see how much horsepower. There's going to be a dyno run at the end when we tune it, but I'm hoping to see 110-ish horsepower, give or take a bit. So all of that's pretty neat. There's going to be multiple parts to this series, so there's going to be this series of videos that I'm posting on my channel. I'm also going to post a link to the complimentary videos on the Dynojet YouTube channel, which are going to be similar but a little bit different. And then they're also going to have some blog posts on their website. So between those, there should be a whole lot of really interesting content that I hope that you enjoy. After this intro, I'm going to be doing some unboxing videos of the various parts that Dynojet has sent me. We've got a series of upgrades from S&S, a 110-inch big bore power pack that's going to replace the cylinders, camshafts, oil pump, and some other bits. S&S has also sent over their classic teardrop intake upgrade that makes a very significant increase in the airflow on the intake side. And they've sent their Eldorado 50 state legal full exhaust, goes all the way from the exhaust ports all the way out the back. I think all of these are great. Dynojet helped to come up with these, and I think they came up with a better package than I would have by myself, frankly. Dynojet's got a whole lot of experience in the motorcycle and power sports industry field. They're a name that if you ride motorcycles, you've almost certainly heard of, and I'm very happy to be working with them on that. So I'll put some video in here of my dyno run. Well, we got the bike pulled out. Looks like it's going to be a great day for a ride. I'm excited. Let's get going. Love how this bike sounds. I'm really excited about this. I spent years and thousands of hours running engines on dynos, but they were all on engine dynos. This is actually going to be the first time I've ever run anything on a chassis dyno. So that part's really cool. I'm also going to be excited to see what exactly is my bike making right now, because I bought it and then I did a few upgrades to it. They were all minor. And I did notice a difference when I made the upgrades. So I think it should do a little bit better than stock, but it's nowhere near what it's going to be afterwards. But really, you know, if you're interested in seeing the before and after, it's really good if you can do a dyno beforehand. That tells you where you are. So this should be a whole lot of fun. Alright, Joe, you got the heat shields off. Tell me what you got.
What we've done is we went through and drilled a couple holes in the front and rear header pipe. I usually like to keep this within 4 to 6 inches of the head. The reason for that is to give us a lot better sample reading of the air fuel. Trying to use the copper tubing up the tailpipes, a lot of times you run into an issue with the tailpipe or the tubing wanting to bend and not getting a proper signal. So this gives us the best possible signal. So what I do is drill the holes, put what's called a rib nut into there, and then I've got the sampling tubes to screw into that to go back to my wideband sensors to give me the proper signal.
Awesome. Let's get it on the dyno.
Absolutely.
All right, so we completed our initial dyno pull. So, Joe, what are your impressions?
Looks like we're looking at about 77 horsepower and about 89, 90 foot-pounds of torque. Kind of the numbers that I would probably expect to see out of something like this. It could definitely use some improvement. We definitely see that with the stage 1 setup, if we look over here at the air fuel lines, at the lower RPM ranges, I always start my runs at about 1750, starting at about 1750, all the way up to, looks like, you know, at least, let me put my clicker on here, about 4,200. We're crazy lean, dangerously lean. I mean, we're above 16, above 15. You know, the idea is that we're kind of shooting initially for a good tune-in, dial-in area. I would like to see 13 and then kind of modify from there to see what the bike likes. But we can definitely tell that by looking at the dyno charts here. You know, that whenever you look at them and they've got this crazy heartbeat look to them, that they're crazy, you know, vibraty looking, you know that something's not right. The bike's not happy, something weird and wonky's going on. It should be a decently smooth curve throughout the whole range.
You and I were talking about this a little bit, that I've never had this bike on a dyno before, and so, you know, what was in here was just a canned tune, and even though the bike rode fine and got good mileage and made reasonable power, you know, obviously there was a lot that needed to get addressed on this. So yeah, well, this has been really interesting. Thanks for getting this done, for doing this dyno run for us. I appreciate it. Mm-hmm. And obviously we're not going to tune it today. I'm going to bring it back in another few weeks, or whenever I get the Go Fast parts installed, and then we'll do a full tune and see what it does.
Get her all dialed in and see what kind of numbers we can come out with.
All right, well, thanks again. I'll see you when it's all done.
Yeah, no problem.
The initial dyno run that I did actually went better than what I thought it was going to. I had expected that the motorcycle really hadn't gained much horsepower from stock. Now, to be fair, I never did a dyno run of the bike before I did my stage 1 upgrade that's on it right now, but I figured maybe 70 horsepower. The dyno actually read 75 to 78 horsepower. We did 3 runs, and so that's pretty neat. I was happy to see those numbers. But a couple other interesting things that I noticed during that were that the fuel mapping from this can tune that I had was really lean, and that really shows you the benefit of having a proper dyno tune. The can tune had even into the 15 to 16 to 1 air-fuel ratio range at some points, and one of my complaints that I'd had with this motorcycle was that when you rolled into the throttle, you'd get it would feel like you got some more power initially, but then when you went all the way to full throttle, it got louder, but it didn't feel like it actually went any faster. And I think that that's probably a good bit of why. I bet that even just doing a dyno tune by itself on this bike as it sits would have made it substantially more enjoyable to ride than what it is. But I'm really excited to be doing this full upgrade. I think it's going to completely transform the bike, and that at the end I'm going to have the motorcycle that I really wanted in terms of engine performance. Aside from the goodies from S&S, we're also going to be putting on a Harley-Davidson Oil Cooler. These bikes from the factory don't have an oil cooler, and so when you're adding this much horsepower, especially to an air-cooled engine, you really want to make sure that you're keeping the oil temperature under control. On an air-cooled engine, this is more important because the oil in an air-cooled engine really provides a cooling function as well as a lubrication function. So that's something that I think is going to be really important. When you're doing a project like this, it's also important to take a look at the rest of your motorcycle and just see what else is there that maybe I should be looking at or considering replacing or upgrading to make sure that I can use this horsepower. So there's a few things that I'm doing. First one is I'm going to be replacing my tires. These are actually the original tires, which I had forgotten I still had on here. And while they only have about 10,000 miles on them, which on a touring bike sometimes you can get away with more than that, they are definitely flat spotted. So it's going to be, so I got a set of Pirelli, what kind of tires did I buy? Let me check that. Set of Pirelli Night Dragon tires. From what I could find, it seemed like they have the best traction, and while I am not racing this motorcycle, I think I'm going to enjoy having the extra traction. Reports I read said that they do have less life versus some of the touring tires like what is on the motorcycle right now, but that's a compromise that I think is reasonable. I'm also going to be putting in new spark plugs because my spark plugs are original. I'm going to be putting in some new spark plug wires as well. And of course, I'm going to be putting in new oil and a new oil filter since I've got the engine going to be opened up and it's time for an oil change anyway. Couple of things maybe to note that I'm not going to be changing are that I'm not going to change the belt. The drive belt on these Harleys is supposedly good essentially for life, and mine's in good condition with only about 10,000 miles on it. So I don't think that that's something that I need to address at this power level. The clutch, that's something we're going to see. I'm going to start off with leaving it as a stock clutch that's on it right now since it's got still pretty low miles and it's functioning just fine. Maybe it'll survive, maybe it won't. And I guess we're going to find out. If it doesn't, then there's a few good options out there that I could go with. But for now, we're going to just try the stock clutch and we'll see what happens. So I hope that you enjoy this series. We're also going to be doing unboxing videos of the parts. We're going to be doing videos documenting the actual upgrade itself. And then we're going to take it to the dyno to get a full dyno tune, and we'll see how much horsepower it makes at the end. So make sure that you like and subscribe to this one. Also make sure that you go over to the Dynojet YouTube channel and that you like and subscribe over there so you can get the updates on it. And let me know what you think of this series as it comes along. So hope you enjoy it. Look forward to posting more videos. Thanks for watching.